Rust has been around since 2013, the game has continually improved over its multi-year stint as an early access game on PC via Steam. Today, the game developed by Facepunch Studios is now in its full release with a Rust console version playable on the PlayStation and Xbox platforms and stands as a fun, albeit at times stressful, online multiplayer experience. Rust is a first-person survival game where players wake up completely stripped of everything. Starting with a simple rock, characters gather resources, build structures, and loot other people to get better equipment. Rust is a high-intensity game, and when a player's character dies, all the loot on the body is up for grabs. This creates a fun and interesting dynamic where relying on friends is paramount. With servers capable of hosting hundreds of people, playing with friends makes things exponentially easier. Party Animals is a 2023 multiplayer party game seemingly inspired by previous multiplayer physics-based games like Gang Beasts and Fall Guys, but packages the title with a variety of selectable, cute, and cuddly animal avatars. In Party Animals, friends can participate in a variety of mini-games with both an online multiplayer mode and a local split screen. From skirmish modes and King of the Hill game modes to objective-based maps, there are a variety of different ways that people can have fun with their friends. This cute action-packed team game is perfect for a casual time with a group of good friends. Lethal Company is a new indie title developed by a small team called Zeekers, who has worked on a few other indie titles over the past few years with very positive reviews on Steam. Lethal Company is the latest in Among Us type games, where teammates collect scrap and other items while wearing a hazmat suit and exploring abandoned bunkers for cash while cooperating with a pre-made or random team. The only catch is that hideous aliens and environmental disasters hide around every corner. The game just released into early access on October 23, 2023, and there are still a lot of bugs to work out. But people online have already been making hilarious compilation videos of some of the funnier hazards in the game. Much like Phasmophobia, each time a mission is successful, it's possible to use acquired credits to get better gear to make recovery gear. With little to no direction and proximity voice chat, the scenarios in the game are unique and at times incredibly funny. Splatoon 3, developed and published by Nintendo, is a hybrid platformer and shooter that replaces the violence usually found in the latter's multiplayer with colorful statements of ink on landmarks. More graffiti than gunshot. The series is known for its unique aesthetic and its vibrant level design, both of which make a triumphant return, and it's safe to say that Splatoon 3 is the most refined variant of the franchise's splatter-filled gameplay. Splatoon follows the player character, either an Inkling or Ockling, depending on their choice at the beginning of the game, as they seek to restore power to Splatsville, a new location that replaces Inkopolis as the game's main hub. The single-player campaign is once again a hidden gem, full of underappreciated and clever writing, and remains one of the best reasons to play Splatoon. Level design is smart, with plenty of puzzles to go around, and the way the game slowly ramps up the difficulty of its platforming goes hand in hand with getting reps in the multiplayer modes. Splatoon supports up to 10 players via online private battles or up to 8 players using local wireless. The Jackbox Party Pack 10 delivers a mostly solid lineup that covers an array of different gameplay styles. Developer and publisher Jackbox Games has been creating beloved multiplayer mini-games since 2014 like Quiplash and Fibbage, and this release as a whole really taps into a lot of what draws players to the franchise. chaos, silliness, and creativity. The Jackbox Party Pack franchise overall seems to grow in its ideas each release, expanding on past concepts to repackage things like trivia and improvisation in new ways. This 10th installment features a sequel to TKO, a fan favorite from Party Pack 3. Released on October 19, 2023, it continues the tradition of fun party games in an online format for up to 9 players. Because many of the games are best suited with a large group and can accommodate 8 to 9 players, this is one game to check out if you've got a large friend group. Helldivers II excels in a wildly entertaining duality, frequently swinging between incredible power fantasy and chaotic hilarity. Arrowhead Game Studios' third-person co-op shooter, playable with up to 4 people online, comes nearly a decade after the first Helldivers, a top-down shooter which was released in 2015. While the original garnered a small, dedicated player base, Helldivers II is already off to a blistering start. It only takes a handful of missions to see the innate brilliance of Helldivers II, and a couple dozen hours have revealed a satisfying depth in its gameplay synergies. In Helldivers II, players are tasked with spreading Super Earth's managed democracy, a satirical front for an authoritarian, highly militaristic regime wishing to control the galaxy. To bring liberty to distant planets, players, as elite soldiers known as Helldivers, are lowered into orbital drop pods and fired onto the planets that are currently the Galactic War's front lines. Missions vary based on objectives, enemies, difficulty, and time limit, but they all have one thing in common: leveraging an incredible amount of firepower. There's a visceral gratification to firing 100-some bullets into a swarm of encroaching alien bugs, or calling in a rolling bombardment from orbit on a fortress controlled by deadly robots. Though Grand Theft Auto Online may not have reached the critical acclaim of Grand Theft Auto V or the other single-player experiences in the franchise, it would feel wrong not to consider the title one of the best online games to play with friends. Highly popular to this day, GTA Online was originally released shortly after GTA V over a decade ago in 2013, and has since seen a plethora of regular updates to improve the experience. Packaged with the single-player experience, it's created a new avenue for fun in the world for those who have completed the campaign. In Grand Theft Auto Online, players can create their own characters in the open world of San Andreas and Los Santos, while interacting with the world's NPCs and other human-controlled characters. While a large and robust modding community and modded servers, people have taken the title to the next level by implementing special rules that dictate how people play. This has resulted in deeply immersive roleplay servers, and has generated a voracious fan base for the franchise and the upcoming Grand Theft Auto VI. Don't Starve Together is a standalone expansion for the survival game Don't Starve. With a Lovecraftian 2D aesthetic, people must team up to survive the dark wilderness and its dangers. Supporting up to 6 players at a time, users must locate resources, build production buildings, and fortify their shelters to evade the dreary beasts and scary entities that roam the land. With a spooky but cartoony aesthetic, Don't Starve Together tackles serious themes of survival with a very cool art style. Though initially the mechanics for the game seem simple, it leads way to a deep and rather challenging game that's a great introduction to the survival genre of video games. Great for all ages, Don't Starve Together is a blast to play with friends or family online. The surprise smash success of the new creature collecting survival title out of a small Japanese development company has taken the world by storm, amassing an eye-watering 19 million players in just under the span of 1 month. While the hype for the game has died down since it originally launched on January 19th, a roadmap that includes official online servers, PvP, new bosses, and a host of other improvements and tweaks will continue to bring fresh players to the survival title. With up to 4 players in the online co-op mode and 32 players on dedicated servers, it's possible to play the creature collecting title with a big group of friends. For those seeking a solid fighting game experience and who would rather beat down their friends than play alongside them, Mortal Kombat 1 is the perfect game to pick up. Mortal Kombat 1 is the highly anticipated follow-up to 2019's Mortal Kombat 11, which saw Liu Kang ascend to a fire god. MK1, in many ways, is a reboot of the franchise, though it mostly follows the continuity established in the modern Mortal Kombat games. In the game's narrative, time is rebooted, giving way to a reintroduction of classic MK characters from previous games. MK1 can be played offline in local mode or in private online lobbies. Deep Rock Galactic is a cooperative, multiplayer, first-person shooter, where a team of space-trotting dwarf miners, with different missions in procedurally generated caves with varying hazards and creatures, Deep Rock Galactic can sometimes be a true challenge. Originally released on Xbox and PC in 2020, Deep Rock Galactic has since evolved via the developer's Ghost Ship games, with close attention to the title over the years. Teams of dwarves team up to take on different missions cooperatively while overcoming hordes of alien bugs protecting the treasure. Highly addictive, the game requires precise teamwork as each person can take on different roles within the team to help accomplish the end goal of mining natural resources and extracting from the mission location. With constant updates and seasonal events, Deep Rock Galactic is a game to check out for anyone who likes cooperative horde games. When the first Mario Party was released for the N64 all the way back in 1999, it set a precedent for fun couch co-op party games to play with friends. The newest iteration of the title enables friends from across the globe to connect via Nintendo Switch online and create custom lobbies to duke it out over the game's mini-games or main game format. As the latest iteration of the title, released in 2021 and developed by ND Cube and published by Nintendo, it's the 12th game in the long-running series. Like past games in the franchise, people can head off in a free-for-all or 2v2 online mode, with a wide selection of characters, including Donkey Kong, Birdo, Wario, and the relative newcomer, Rosalina. With a wide array of boards and game modes, there's plenty of variety packed in the mighty Nintendo Switch title. Turning to survival, Valheim is an early access multiplayer exploration and survival game based on Norse mythology and folklore. With up to 10-person parties, Valheim can accommodate a ton of players on a single hosted server and is fairly reasonable regarding PC requirements. People can team up to discover the varying biomes in the game while taking out treacherous trolls and other dangerous creatures in the land. What makes this indie so amazing is just how deep the world is, and the gratifying sense of progression achieved from taming certain animals and getting better gear. Much like other survival titles, in Valheim, it's possible to craft different armor and weapons, build giant wooden and stone homes, and even sail on the game's vast ocean with a group of friends, making this certainly one of the best multiplayer online games to play right now. The grand epic Total War Warhammer 3 is a culmination of years of development, starting with the first title in the franchise, which was released in 2016. Arguably, Creative Assembly's greatest franchise ever created, the Total War Warhammer series of games utilizes the technology and base from the historical Total War titles that put the development company on the map. Warhammer 3 refines the gameplay and UI while introducing all new, unique faction missions, quests, and mechanics. Though some of the game's features may feel dense, fast-paced RTS combat with massive armies, helps break up more tedious grand strategy tasks like balancing the economy and dealing with diplomacy. With up to 8 players in the grand campaign on the largest map that Creative Assembly has ever created, combining the map from all 3 games, it's one of the most engaging grand strategy games that one can play with friends. Counter-Strike Global Offensive was originally developed in 2012 and is a follow-up to one of the longest-running FPS games in history. Counter-Strike 2 is the latest enhancement to the iconic first-person shooter. Valve has constantly updated, tweaked, and balanced the game throughout its lifespan to the point of near perfection. CS2 is a culmination of these efforts with new additions and enhancements, including new volumetric smoke, updated maps, and improved tick rates. Counter-Strike has been a staple in FPS games and is considered one of the greatest franchises ever created for the genre for its tight controls and highly strategic gameplay. Creating a team to win competitive matches in CS2 is quite the challenge, but it's also one of the most fun games to play cooperatively with a group of friends once the underlying gameplay mechanics are learned. Terraria is a 2011 action-adventure and sandbox game originally developed for the PC, but later ported to the PS4, PS5, Xbox One and Series, and even mobile devices. Developed by Relogic, the game has seen steady updates since its original release over a decade ago. That being said, it still stands as one of the most fun games to explore with friends to this day. Terraria is a 2D pixel art title that challenges people to discover different resources, craft different items, and survive the long and treacherous nights. With a huge level of freedom of choice and procedurally generated worlds capable of containing 8 players, Terraria manages to achieve that nostalgic game feel with modern survival gaming mechanics. Diablo IV, the latest in the popular dungeon-crawling ARPG from Blizzard Entertainment, offers players a classic feel familiar to those who've played previous entries, though with an even darker tone than ever before. The sadness and horrors of the world are immediately evident in the opening Diablo IV cinematic, and there is no denying that Sanctuary is no longer its namesake from the gloom and despair that has encompassed the world. The satisfying hack-and-slash mechanics and feeling of power triumphantly returns as players take on the role of the Wanderer to bring a little glimmer of hope back to this world. The latest in the iconic Diablo franchise of games, the title follows a group of adventurers as they unravel the dark mystery behind the game's lead antagonist, Lilith. Diablo IV can be played entirely solo, outside of team activities like PvP or world boss encounters. However, playing with friends certainly makes the experience more fun. In addition, the different classes of Barbarian, Rogue, Sorcerer, Necromancer, and Druid ensure that the entire group can find a character that suits their personality or playstyle. Tetris is an iconic game originally created in 1985 by Russian game developer Alexei Pajitnov. Tetris Effect Connected is arguably the most refined revamp of the title ever created. With an amazing, synchronized soundtrack and surprisingly outstanding visuals, Tetris Effect Connected elevates the title in just about every way. Beautifully animated backgrounds with eye-popping visual effects heighten the nearly 40-year-old game concept. With online multiplayer, new mechanics like a zone freeze feature, various game modes, and cross-platform and cooperative play, Tetris Effect Connected is one of the best online puzzle games to play with friends right now. Though released in 2017, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe stands as arguably the best Mario Kart game ever created, with the deluxe version containing all of the DLC for Mario Kart 8 to make the game more fun. With a seasonal booster course pass, new tracks, and an ever-growing list of DLC obtainable for the title, There's a lot of content available for people who pick up Mario Kart 8. Nostalgic fun combined with modern game mechanics are blended perfectly for this racing battler. A Nintendo Switch online membership is required to play online. Valorant is a competitive 5v5 FPS shooter. In the ilk of iconic games like Counter-Strike, Valorant provides people with a diverse cast of characters called agents, who all have their own unique abilities and weapons that make them stand out on the battlefield. A standard match of Valorant pits two teams of 5 players against each other in a round-based battle to plant a bomb or protect the targeted sites. Teams are made up of different playable agents, each with their own class and special abilities. Guns and body armor are purchased at the start of every round, and ability charges must be bought with earned cash as well. One side begins the match as attackers, while the other takes the job of defenders, and these roles are swapped at the midway point in each match. Bullet spread, noise, positioning, timing, and more are all major factors to consider as both teams fight to win 13 rounds and claim victory. Like other competitive shooters, precise timing, superior movement, and an understanding of the game's various maps will have people climbing the ranked ladder, though winning does provide some pretty good coordination, skill, and teamwork. League of Legends is a multiplayer online battle arena game in which the player controls a character with a set of unique abilities from an isometric perspective. Over the course of a match, champions gain levels by accruing experience points through killing enemies. Items can be acquired to increase champion strength and are bought with gold, which players accrue passively over time and earn actively by defeating the opposing team's minions, champions, or defensive structures. In League of Legends, friends can team up into teams of 5 and take control of 165 champions, ranging from casters to tanks to damage dealers called a hard carry. League of Legends is a lot like a chess match, where the constant push and pull of the enemy and the ever-looming threat of the destruction of the team's nexus hangs overhead. If one is looking for a strategic game that requires reflexes, intelligence, and teamwork, then there's arguably no better game than League of Legends. Apex Legends is not only the best battle royale game currently available, but it may be one of the best free-to-play releases of all time. As one of the best team shooters available, Apex Legends scratches the itch for both hyper-competitive and casual FPS players. Free-to-play, there are currently 24 different characters to choose from, all boasting unique abilities to use in combat. With a variety of weapons, movement mechanics, and solid and addictive core gameplay, Apex is a great game to pick up and start a squad online. Apex Legends is currently in its 20th season, called Breakout, and continues to make regular seasonal updates to the game. When it comes to the mantle of the best fighting game made in the past few years, it's undeniable that Street Fighter VI is somewhere near the top of the heap. With a franchise that's over 3 decades old, Street Fighter VI updates the iconic franchise with the newly added World Tour mode, a new single-player campaign mode that enables people to create their own Street Fighter character and meet the diverse roster of 18 different characters in the game. Players can take their custom-made avatars and meet up with friends in Street Fighter VI using the Battle Hub, where they interact on virtual arcade machines. Unique modifiers that can be added to matches help keep the game fresh and open the doors for wackier matchups and an opportunity just to have fun. Street Fighter VI also includes a ton of enhancements and new simplified controls, making the game a fun one to play with friends regardless of skill level. Super Mario Bros. Wonder took the classic 2D side-scrolling action that made the Mario franchise iconic and incorporated cooperative elements to make the game fun for a group of people. There are several improvements made upon prior side-scrollers from Nintendo, including the ability to play a wide cast of characters in Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and the ability for Mario to turn into an elephant. In addition to being built for multiplayer mode, Super Mario Bros. Wonder also has easier characters immune to damage, so younger generations can also enjoy the franchise. Great for a wide range of different ages, Super Mario Bros. Wonder introduces the iconic side-scrolling Mario franchise to a whole new generation of players and updates the game with new mechanics, better graphics, and new interesting features and game modes. Baldurs Gate 3 begins with high-stakes action, immediately thrust into the role of a hero, either pre-designed as part of a diverse cast of characters and classes, or customized by the player as an original insertion into the story, who has been infected with a mind flayer tadpole. Usually a means to an incredibly bad end in quick fashion, they discover that they have been gifted with rare powers and no transformation. Assembling a crew begins soon after, though as always, there's nothing that says players must join up with similarly afflicted characters. The incredible amount of choice that comes with Baldurs Gate 3 is truly on display within its opening minutes. Baldurs Gate 3 is the latest game in a trilogy of epic, narrative-driven games in the Baldurs Gate franchise. Developed by Larian Studios, the title has garnered critical and player praise for its rich storytelling, intricate character building, and freedom of choice. While initially developed for the Windows PC, the game is now available on Mac and PlayStation 5. Baldurs Gate 3 is a smash success and is highly praised for its intricate storytelling, compelling character arcs, and superb audio and graphics. Baldurs Gate 3 derives much of its inspiration from Dungeons & Dragons 5e, and follows a group of adventurers struggling to uncover a dark mystery in the world of Faerun. Turn-based combat and important narrative choices that can lead to many different outcomes make Baldurs Gate 3 one of the most interesting and fun games currently out. What makes the experience even better is when a solid group of friends is willing to share in the game's story. Whether it's competitive FPS titles like Counter-Strike, cooperative titles like Deep Rock Galactic and Baldur's Gate, or a fighting game like Mortal Kombat 1, there are plenty of different types of video games for any group of friends.